So when I was growing up, I wasn't very good at school. I didn't misbehave or anything, but I wasn't very smart. I wasn't really seen as one of the intelligent ones. I was sort of drawn to sport, playing netball, didn't really listen in maths or science or anything that everyone else seemed to be really good at. I just really lacked the confidence. I guess it's important to give a bit of detail to where I went to school. So I grew up in a town just south of Birmingham called Bromsgrove. And though I have really fond memories of growing up there, and some of my best friends are from Bromsgrove, it's a predominantly white space, a combination of middle class and working class families. But what that meant for me as a woman of colour, as a black mixed race woman, was that I always stood out a little bit. And I think I took that with me when I was growing up, and it made me sort of not very confident in the school space, which meant I didn't really try very hard. After I did my GCSEs, I got pretty average grades. I did my A-levels. And when I did my A-levels, something happened, something changed. I don't know whether it's because of the subjects that I was concentrating on, or I felt a little bit more at peace in myself. But I was studying history, sociology, and law. I did French AS level, but I didn't do very well at that. And sociology, history, and law sort of just became like my everyday. I became so passionate about them, those three subjects. And with that passion, I became like an A-star student. It was mental, and it just sort of showed me that even at that time, that if you're passionate about a subject, you have the capacity to do quite well in it. But one of the reasons why I was specifically drawn to sociology is because it sort of answered some questions that I had had growing up, that no one could answer around me, whether that be to do with my race or my gender or in particular my social class. I remember coming across a sociologist called Heidi Mirza, and she's a black British feminist sociologist, and she had done some research on black girls in London schools, and what she had found in her research that the black girls were victim to teacher racism, and for that reason were isolated in the classroom by the school institution and the teachers. And what teachers, or what they were expected to be like, was misbehave and not do well. And what they did actually do was do very well and apply themselves in a way that was outside of teacher expectations and still did very well. So Heidi Mirza sort of argued that there's something within black women and how we respond to the rejection that we have in school, which is resilience, basically. And I remember reading that study when I was doing A-levels and thinking, God, that is literally like my experience. I never felt like, well, there were some teachers which definitely really helped me, and I'm still in contact with them now, but there were other teachers that just didn't want to know me and saw me as basically a nuisance. But when I got to A-level, I almost wanted to prove those people wrong, and I wanted to show them that I could do well and I could exceed. So that study and Heidi Mirza and her work on Black British feminism has sort of guided me throughout my career in academia. So I did my A-levels, I did well, I got A stars, I was so happy, I couldn't believe it, I'd never been a high achiever at school. And then I went to university and had the absolute shock of my life when I found out everyone had been to private school. And what that meant was everyone was 10 times cleverer than me. Everyone had read so much more than me. It's almost like they had been equipped for university from the age of about 6. So it felt like going back to sort of year 6 at school when I'm at the back of the classroom and I'm like, oh, I don't know what's happening. So it almost felt like going backwards again. But I put my resilience jacket on, I studied hard, I worked really hard as well, as in like occupation-wise. I worked behind a bar because I didn't have any money. So I was working a lot and studying a lot. And I also made some amazing friends. But I knew sort of early on when I was doing a degree in sociology that I wanted to carry on doing this. I wanted a career in it. I'd been doing voluntary work from the age of about 16 with young kids, and I was doing youth mentoring, and I knew I had this sort of drive and passion to sort of fight inequality, and I was starting to realise that there was perhaps a career in it, but I didn't really know what I was supposed to be doing or how I could monetize working on inequality in society. So it got to the end of my degree, and I'd done my dissertation. I'd got a distinction. I was so pleased. I ended up getting a solid 2-1, and I was like, right, I want to do a master's. I remember going to do a master's and being like, right, okay, so how do I do this? Is there a student finance? What is there? What do I do? No student finance. I was like, oh, okay, so how do I do a master's then? And they were like, oh, can your parents not help you? And I was like, no. They were like, because it's £10,000. And I was like, right. So I ended up getting a bank loan, and I went to Birkbeck University. I went to evening school, and I worked full-time in a graduate role. So I graduated from university, started a sales job, and then in the evenings was doing my master's. So at this point, I felt like I was on the back foot. I wanted to do this. I wanted a career in academia. I wanted to carry on studying. I wanted to do research. I still didn't really understand what a PhD was, but I knew I was hopefully going to be on my journey towards that. I wish I had known in my first year and second year of doing my undergraduate degree how difficult it would be to navigate postgraduate education. I wish I had known about different funding bodies, different institutions that can help students like myself, whether that's students from a disadvantaged background or even black students. I wish I'd known all these things, because since I finished university, since I finished my undergraduate degree and doing my master's and now halfway through my PhD, I've always been on the back foot. And I've been on the back foot because the information is out there, but it is not fed to everyone. I know everyone's trying their best, and it's not necessarily to blame any individuals in particular, but the resources and the information does not get to everyone. And the people that are less likely to get that information are people of colour, black people, and working class students. I think that's one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about this Black in Academia project, is because I feel like my own personal experience in academia could have been so different and probably so much cheaper and a lot less stressful if I had had the guidance and the knowledge to understand how careers in academia work from an earlier age. I'll still always have Heidi Mears' study in the back of my head that even though institutions, schools and universities might not be geared up for black women and black girls, we will find a way and we will excel and we will do amazing things.